say welcome, first of all, to all of you participants to our college and career event here for District 214. My name is Paul Kelly, and I am the principal of Elk Grove High School. And I am extremely proud, not only of Elk Grove High School, but of all of our programs in District 214. And we have for you a group of people with a huge range of career experiences and interests and passions. And our goal here tonight is for all of you to get a little bit of insight, not only into sort of that Sesame Street style, who are the people in your neighborhood, but even more significantly, what are the options and opportunities that our students have while they're here with us at Elk Grove High School. And so right now, before we our little intros, I am going to share my screen here and with everyone give you a little overview of what we're going to be looking at. And so as you can see here is College and Career Ready Night. We're in a law, government, public administration, public safety, and criminal justice pathway conversation. It is not super clear cut what gets a student interested in these areas, and the range of careers in this career pathway is massive. And as you can see from our panelists tonight, whether it is criminal justice, firefighter, attorney, even like seeking a role in civic life in government, the range of things that are part of this pathway are huge. But the common theme is that these are ripe for great opportunities for careers, and we have a lot of support and guidance for students along the way, both in our schools and with our community partners and post-secondary partners for after the high school career. And so just as a little taste of this, going to kind of show you again, I'm Paul Kelly. Here are your panelists. And so you can get a sense of who we're in the room with. One of these, this document that you're looking at, totally available on our website. And I'm going to tell you that first. Every student has a particular pathway of courses they're going to take that are required either by the state of Illinois or by District 214 or both. And so as you can see on this and the subsequent pages, regardless of where you're going to go, what field you want to maybe look into, you're going to take certain courses while you're in District 214 schools. And so no matter what, you're going to have your English, you're going to have your math, you're going to have your social science of some sort. However, it is in those elective areas that our students find their futures and their passions and the things that really, as much as our students love to take that required English class regularly, it is that thing they got to pick with a teacher they got to know earlier in their high school career that they really find their joy and passion in. And when they get that partnership with somebody in the real world and get some time with people that are doing that work in the field, it really is a perfect match and gives our kids opportunities that they could never have possibly dreamed of. And many of us who went to high school a little while ago, we can tell you that this did not exist. This stuff did not exist the way that it does now, and it's awesome. And so as you can see on this doc, there is guidance for a student that wants to go into like government and public administration. There's also guidance for a student who wants to go in a field as way out there as international relations. And I tell you from experience, some of the very sharpest and most impressive students that have graduated in my time at Elk Grove High School are actually in international relations, and I can't wait to see the stuff that they're doing. One of our students is at Harvard doing and doing an internship with the State Department. It is just amazing the kinds of things. And he was a student that was in our law pathway in District 214, which is phenomenal. Law itself, obviously for students that think they have an interest in becoming an attorney, they think it's law and order. It is not. However, it's still a darn good career if you know what it is you're getting into, and we can certainly help with that. And then you get into the civil services, the emergency services, and the fire and EMT world, all of these things that provide that safety net that our government and communities offer us. They are in this pathway as well. And so it is sort of one of those it's strange bedfellows, if you will. There's a bunch of different ways that you could go, but no matter what, being in that pathway, you're going to be having the opportunity to interact with a bunch of people in these careers. In criminal justice, obviously, with our local police departments and beyond, our students that have an interest in the criminal justice system, we have a whole lot of options for them. What is available to you after this night is over and forever is on the District 214 website. There is the Academic Pathways and Programs Guidebook. It is an amazing resource, regardless of your interest. If after a while in here you say, wait, I don't want to be an attorney and I don't want to be a firefighter and I don't want to work in international relations, but I missed one on health careers, what the heck? Don't worry, you can go to the website and look under the academics tab and you can find this Academic Programs and Pathways Guidebook that has for you a great deal of info on the types of courses that everybody's going to take, as well as some of the courses that you might want to take if you already have a sense of what your future might be in these areas. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to ask our panel participants to introduce themselves to you so that everybody that's here tonight can get a sense of who these folks are that you can learn from. One thing, I'll do this at the end as well, I hope, but I'm going to do it now. If you catch where the panel participant is from, and they're in your community, please take special note because they are going to be available to you, and I hope this is okay, for contact. And if they're not, we certainly will be at the school and help put you in contact with those community members and post-secondary partners to help you kind of get a good feel for where it's at. So because we're a big district, we have lots of different home schools. If you're at Elk Grove Village, you're covered here tonight. If you're at Wheeling, you might be like, well, wait, where was a Wheeling person? Trust me, every one of our schools has a plethora of humans ready to help. They just might not have been able to be here on this night. And so this fantastic group of people are the representatives of this pathway. And so without further ado, I'm going to ask our participants to introduce themselves to you. And I want you, as you introduce yourself, to just tell everybody your name, the role you have with your organization, and what's your organization. And then what did you do right after high school? Like what post-secondary education did you get? If you went to undergraduate for a 4-year degree, where'd you do it? If you went right away for training and did a 2-year, where'd you do it? What was your kind of story of getting to where you're at? So your name, the role in organization, and what'd you do after high school to get to the point that you're at today? So I'm going to again go with where you're at on my screen. I'm going to ask John, if you don't mind to go ahead and go first, introduce yourself to our group.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Kaminsky. I am
wrong John, but go ahead, John.
There we go. Oh, now I'm on the front of your screen. I am a Prospect High School teacher in the legal pathway. I teach the dual credit oral argumentation legal research class. After high school, I went to Illinois State. Finished up an undergrad degree there and then proceeded to get grad degrees in history and political science to be able to teach kind of in this pathway.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. John Grossman.
Good evening. My name is John Grossman. I'm from the Arlington Heights Fire Department and as a firefighter paramedic and also a Hersey alum. After graduating from Hersey, I attended Eastern Kentucky University, where I majored in fire and safety engineering technology. And after graduating from Eastern, I came back to Arlington Heights and attended Harper, where I worked on my EMTB and paramedic license, getting hired on the Prospect Heights Fire District, and then eventually on to Arlington Heights Fire Department, where I've been for the last 15 years.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You know, it does serve me right for throwing out the name John and then wondering why two people might think it's them. All right. Kathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Higgins Mora. I am an immigration attorney here in Wheeling, and I'm also the proud parent of a school district senior at Wheeling High School. So I have my own law practice here in Wheeling. Again, I practice immigration law. After high school, I went on to do an undergraduate degree in sociology at DePaul University. And after I finished up my 4 years and had my sociology degree, decided I didn't know what to do. So I went on to law school. And here I am helping people sponsor family members and immigrate and become citizens. Nice to be here tonight.
Thank you so much. Okay, Rita Thompson.
Hi there, I'm Rita Thompson. I'm a teacher at Elk Grove High School, and I'm one of the law pathway instructors. So when I left high school, I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor and got my bachelor's degree. And then from there, I went on to law school at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana.
Well, you finished strong, at least I can say, I'm just kidding. Of course, Michigan's awesome. All right, Mr. Nauman. Wait, Mrs. Thompson, how did you end up as a teacher of law? Because you're in my English department at Elk Grove High School. What the heck?
Yes. So I was one day, Paul Kelly stopped by my classroom and said, "So is it true you have a law degree?" And yes, I have not gotten rid of that law degree. And it turned out that they were looking for instructors for the Eastern program. And I was really excited to be able to step on board that. So it's been really interesting. And it's been really fun to work with Karen Swenson over at Eastern. So
Awesome. Great. All right, Mr. Nauman.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robert Nauman. I am a partner at a small firm and private practice in Elk Grove Village called Nauman Ignell and Associates. And my immediate path after high school was to finish up an undergraduate degree, where I finally finished that degree at Judson, now Judson University in Elgin, Illinois. After going to a few different schools. I took 5 years off, had a career in the private sector in information technology with my undergraduate in business management. And then I went to law school at Regent University on the East Coast.
And what's your focus in your legal career?
Yeah, it's very broad. We do everything except personal injury, divorce, and criminal, and immigration. We don't do that either. So we do transactional and litigation related primarily to real estate, estates, and corporate law.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. Zach Schlatt.
Everybody, I'm Zach. I'm a firefighter paramedic with Elk Grove Village Fire Department. Been there for almost 8 years. I, like John, also went to Eastern Kentucky University after high school. I went to FREMD, graduated in 2007. I got my bachelor's degree in emergency medical care. I got my national EMT and my national paramedic license through that program. I came back up to the Chicago suburbs after school. I ended up joining the Navy Reserves as a corpsman, so doing medical for the Navy and the Marine Corps. And I ended up becoming a fireman in the city of Lexington, Kentucky for a year, and then I got hired on Elk Grove in 2015. And I bounced around for a little bit. It took a while, but I've been doing that ever since.
There you go. We're all on a journey of unknown duration, right? And eventually you figure it out. And thank you for being here tonight to share your experiences. Okay, Karen.
Hi, I'm a professor at Eastern Illinois University in Charleston, Illinois, about 2.5 hours south of here. I teach in the political science department, and I'm also the director of the pre-law studies program. And something exciting that we've been doing for the past 5 years is teaching legal research and argument as dual credit with several D214 teachers, including Mr. Kaminsky and Ms. Thompson. And if you choose to come to EIU and you've taken that legal research and argument, then you can take it again and again and just be really good at appellate advocacy. My path is I went to a small liberal arts college in Ohio called Oberlin College. And then kind of like Rita Thompson, not quite knowing what to do, I decided to go to law school. But then I discovered that I'd really like to be a college professor. So I then went to Ohio State and got my PhD. So I've been, like Ms. Thompson, combining teaching with the law degree.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, this is the one we don't talk about because the education pathway is its own thing. But people like me, John Kaminsky, et cetera, like we went to become like history, political science kind of people and teachers. And we didn't enter the government per se. We entered the world of teaching people who will hopefully be good parts of the government and such as we go. So I'm certainly not steering you to the education pathway, but like for those that are like, you know, all of these areas, they kind of morph into each other sometimes, depending on your own individual tastes and experiences. So, okay, Frank.
Hi, I'm Frank Trost. I am the coordinator for the Law Enforcement Justice and Forensic Program at Harper College. Right out of high school, I joined the U.S. Army, spent several years there and started my journey in education. I ended up leaving the military, received my associates in business management from Elgin Community College. From there, received my bachelor's in National Louis University, and was then hired on to the Elgin Police Department. And during my time, I spent over 20 years there. I pursued my master's through Western in law enforcement and justice. And then my final piece, or most recent piece, is I pursued my doctorate at Governor State University. And we offer dual credit courses here at Harper, Intro to Criminal Justice, Forensic 1, and Intro to Corrections.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing tonight. And I think our last panelist is D'Angelo.
Hi again. So after Prospect High School, I went on to University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, where I thought that I wanted to go into PE, and I was studying kinesiology. And then I transferred to North Central College, closer back home in Naperville, where I began to study sociology. And I graduated with my BA in sociology, and I became a student success coach through District D214. And it has been a wonderful experience to be back in the district where I went to high school. So.
Very good. And for all the participants that are on here, what is your role? What do you do? What could they ask you for after the end of this night?
So I am the student success coach over at Elk Grove High School. Throughout the district, there are multiple student success coaches in your building. I am just the one at Elk Grove High School, and we are the people that you can talk to about career exploration and figuring out what is it that you want to do after high school. We can talk to you about internships and apprenticeships, and getting you an opportunity to do those, to figure out your career path and figuring out, again, what is it that you really want to do, and if that's not what you want to do, then figuring out another path for you, which is all a positive thing, because we're figuring out your path, and what is it that you truly want to do once you leave your high school.
Excellent. So I do want to say that regardless of the school that you're a part of, as I mentioned before, there's somebody there that is able to assist you with questions that you may have. And so even if it's through your counselor at school, if you were thinking, well, there was a person on this Zoom who talked about this thing, and I'd like to know more about that, please don't hesitate. Our resources in our district are significant, and these partners that are on here tonight are so gracious with their time. And every school has people that are like these folks tonight that are there and ready to help young people figure out what they might want to do. And so I'm going to do some questions here for our panelists. And first of all, one thing that struck me right away, and I truly don't know this, but John and Zach, as firefighters, paramedics, both of whom went to Eastern Kentucky. Does Eastern Kentucky have a significant, well-known, robust fire program? That, guys, I'm not familiar with it.
I think we're more the well-known. When I went there was only a couple of programs. They have the fire science program. It was Eastern Kentucky, Oklahoma State, University of Cincinnati, University of Maryland. But their programs are more based on engineering, sprinkler systems, inspections. Eastern Kentucky's program is more in fire administration. I got mine in fire, arson, and explosive investigation. They do engineering as well, but also industrial safety and risk management as well. Those programs have expanded as well. So now Southern Illinois has a program, and Western Illinois has programs as well on site.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about you, Zach?
I'd agree with what he said. When I was going through high school, I had always known what I wanted to do, and I would agree. I think the lane that I had open to me was very, very rare or very narrow when it came to secondary education after high school. So I think there are more programs now, but I think EKU definitely has a very, very big reputation as being one of the first and one of the most well accredited and recognized in the region. Like I went the medical route because in our area, we are both paramedics and firemen. And I knew that it was going to be tougher to do a bachelor's degree and then do a paramedic on top of it. So I just kind of did the two birds with one stone.
Fascinating. So your day, one of the questions I was supposed to ask you, our professional partners, is what's a typical day like? And John laughs immediately. What in the heck is a typical day like in the Arlington Heights Fire Department and in the Elk Grove Village Fire Department?
I think Zach and I both almost have the same exact schedule with ours. We work a little different than most other careers. We work 24 hours starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we end our shift at 8 o'clock the next day. We like to joke around every day is a Friday. You work one day, you're off two. So I just got off shift this morning at 8 o'clock. So we start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We have morning roll call and a crew meeting of what we're going to discuss with the shift, with training, education, if we have to do inspections, if we have to do public education. We do our rig checkouts. We do our equipment checkouts and training. But with our own Heights, just like Elk Grove, we're a very busy department. So when the tones go off, we're going on calls. So our whole schedule can change throughout the day. And it's not, you get to go home at 5 o'clock. We're here till 8 o'clock in the morning. The tones go off at midnight, 3 in the morning. We're still going out to work for fire and EMS.
Zach, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's the same. In this area, that's going to be pretty much the same, whether you're in Arlington Heights, Elk Grove, Rolling Meadows, Mount Prospect, Des Plaines, any of those places.
Again, most of our job is now, it's changed from 20, 30 years ago. We're now 75 to 80% emergency medical services over fire. With technology and education, we're getting less fires, less fire alarms, better education, better technology in homes and resident and commercial industrial. So we're more medical driven than the fire service.
And I wanted to ask you that. Yeah, I wanted to ask you that question. How much ongoing education do you engage in your work?
I'll let Zach answer that.
All right. So it all depends on what you're involved in. First and foremost, to just cover the EMS aspect, we're doing a minimum of 2 hours a month. There's always more stuff like doing hands-on skills training. There's always extra classes that come up. Firefighting training, that's always got to be recertified and stuff. So we have a big training tower at one of our stations on the north side of the industrial park that actually a lot of our other community fire departments use as partners with us, and they go out there and they train. If you're involved in the hazmat team or the dive team or the technical rescue team, I think John is a fire investigator as well as me, and then fire inspections. You know, there's all of these different specialties have their own continuing education requirements, and a lot of things have to be recertified on either a biannual or a every 4-year basis. So we're constantly training. It's not a job that you just get your certification, get your job, and now you're punching your ticket and you're done. It's constantly evolving. You're constantly doing more things because the world around us is ever changing. The emergencies we're going to are ever changing. The technology that we're having to deal with, both that we're fighting against and are helping us, is ever changing. So our job is continual education.
Yep, that's what that was a softball of a question, because that's what I'm thinking. Like, probably nothing's the same as when you started your career. Things are so different. But one thing I would say that is always the same is the law. Laws never change, and attorneys never have to keep up with sudden and rapid shifts. And that's of course sarcastic. What is your day look like? And people have this image of what attorneys do, Kathy and Bob. What is what's your day look like? Kathy, why don't you go first?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. On the one hand, some things in immigration law never change. On the other hand, it feels like a roller coaster. So, there's a lot of continuing legal education classes that lawyers have to take to keep their license active. My typical day is all over the place. Sometimes I have the pleasure of meeting with clients and sitting down with them and getting their story, communicating carefully as to what we're trying to accomplish, getting the facts, determining what the issues are. And then I spend a lot of time writing up their story, which then I send off to immigration in a package. So a lot of communicating, whether it be oral and a lot of writing. Sometimes I get to go to immigration for a green card interview or a citizenship interview, but I'm not a litigator. So it's not like I go to court regularly, probably like Robert does, I'm assuming. But yeah, meet with my clients on a typical day, get their facts of their story, make arguments in writing, usually, sometimes orally, but mostly in writing, to try to convince the government that my client deserves the benefit that they're seeking, and giving them the detail that the government needs to make the decision, hopefully in our favor.
So what percentage of your day is preparing for the thing that you have to then go try to accomplish?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I would say I meet with my clients regularly throughout their case. A lot of the first meetings are usually the most important, where we spot the biggest issues and, kind of get the lay of the land in terms of what their case looks like, what we can accomplish, or what we're going to try to accomplish, what the issues are. I spend a lot of time writing. So I spend hours and hours and hours writing documents. And that's where actually my D214 interns come in. I have a handful of interns from D214 each semester and in the summer. And those interns help me get the facts from clients and write up the story. And we kind of have a little bit of, we call it the little democracy, where we say, okay, well, which way should we argue this? And which one sounds better? And we kind of, feed off each other in terms of making the document as strong as possible. So I spend a ton of time communicating with clients and then writing up their story. Probably 80% of my time is writing up their story after having gotten it from them.
Excellent. Bob, how about you?
Well, first I'd like to say that Kathy's interns are having a lot more fun than my interns.
I bet they are.
I'd also like to say that my son, who's now a freshman in D214, said when he was 5 years old that he wants to be a lawyer, or he did, because they don't do hard work like fighting bad guys or putting out fires. So hats off to Frank and Zach and John for doing the hard work, while Kathy and I sit around with our soft hands and whatever. And also shout out to Zach, because he's a great CPR trainer if you need that. He did that for some guys in our troop back in the day. My typical day is all over the board like Kathy's. I would say we start out, if it's necessary that day, with court hearings. We usually do those in the beginning of the morning, or sometimes the beginning of the afternoon, and not just trials. You have lots of hearings that lead up to trial. You have client meetings, you have closings of transactions, the acquisition or sale of a business or a piece of real estate. You've got email and phone calls. You've got drafting pleadings, drafting contracts, drafting letters. You've got office and staff management. Like, Kathy's got her own office. We've got our own office. We've got to deal with that. We've got emails and phone calls. We've got public hearings in the evening. Sometimes I represent clients in front of villages and boards and other folks that usually meet in the evening. So you have to do that in the evening. And then you've got email and phone calls, if I didn't mention that. And you've got networking and community service, things like you volunteer to do to help out with your community, and that takes some time. It also helps you meet the people that might need your services, or where you could help them out as well.
And this is one of those things for which we thank you for taking the time to jump in and do this. So our dual credit partners, when, Frank, what kinds of opportunities are available that you kind of oversee and help our students get experience in?
For our dual credit classes in the fall, we offer intro to criminal justice, and then in the spring is forensic 1 and intro to corrections.
Mhm.
Additionally, are you referring to like what else they can do at Harper, or?
Yeah, what other kinds of where do they take that after they, like, let's say they're done with high school and they did the dual credit, where do they take that in their next steps that you get to kind of see and be part of?
Well, when they decide to come to Harper, there's several pathways they can take within our program. It can be a traditional associate's degree for a transfer, or they can take the associate in applied science in law enforcement and justice, or forensics. And that is geared more towards to make you employment ready. You're taking more of the core classes than you would in a straight transfer degree. And we also have set up where if they take the AAS, we have a university partner that they can complete their bachelor's degree through Roosevelt. They will accept all their courses that they take for the AAS. And we also offer internship opportunities for our LEJ students with federal agencies and local agencies.
And do you help them find those opportunities? Do you help put people in contact with people who kind of pave the way?
Yes, actually, in my role, I'll put together, I'll talk to them first to determine what their interest is. And then if we can match their interests, if they're interested in a local municipality, say, for example, they live in Elk Grove and they want to intern at Elk Grove, I will then work to get that connection so we can place them in Elk Grove.
Excellent, excellent. And then Karen, how about at Eastern? So are students that, if a student comes into your, like working in that dual credit area, and then they decide to head on down to Charleston and keep going, what kinds of continued experiences do you see? We have more kids deciding to go to Eastern than we have had in the past, and a lot of it has to do with this kind of partnership. So what kinds of plugs would you make for opportunities that our kids would get if they do that dual credit and then they keep going?
Yeah, so I will say that what we do at Eastern is great, but our pre-law program is probably not terribly different from other four-year universities' pre-law program. So we offer a curriculum that is a pre-law minor. It's interdisciplinary, where they take classes from various departments, mine, political science, but also English and sociology and criminal justice and economics. It pairs well with just about any major. And so that's the curriculum. We also then do internships, and that's a great way for a student to test out if they want to be a lawyer, is if you actually work with a lawyer. And so many of our college students have not had the opportunity that yours have at D214 to work with Ms. Higgins-Mora or Mr. Nauman. So their first chance would be as a college student. They might work with the state's attorney's office or the public defender's office or a private firm. They might do an internship over the summer, but they can get college credit for that. And then I also oversee a pre-law club where students meet every other Thursday and invite speakers and whatnot. But in connection with our dual credit, we do offer the legal research and argument class. We offer it every semester. Some semesters we just call it moot court because it's only one credit. But this allows students to role play being an attorney that argues before the Supreme Court. And the centerpiece of each semester is going to a competition where they get to compete against other colleges. So in fact, in 2 weeks, we're going up to the University of Chicago and competing with other regional colleges. So yeah, a great way for students to test out if they want to be a lawyer. Not all students decide to go on to be a lawyer, and I consider that to be a success too, rather than have you go to law school and find out there, whoops, that wasn't for me.
Absolutely. And I would say that, like, our goal is a shared one in that we want to give these younger people a chance to give it a go and see what they like and don't like. And so one of the best things that we have available through this partnership and then through a continued pathway experience is that we have teachers like Jonathan and Rita who take these kids and in a rigorous but like affirming and supportive setting, really kind of give them a taste of what this is like. So John and Rita, what's the content of the courses that you teach? What kind of things do you focus on to help our students be ready for, get ready to get ready? What kinds of things are you doing?
John, why don't you start?
Okay. So we both teach the end of the pathway class, kind of the dual credit version. And the class runs where it's a lot of kind of hands-on, where they will try mock trials, both criminal and civil. They will try moot trials, appeals cases, writing legal briefs, writing and looking at Supreme Court cases and amicus briefs for ongoing cases. And that's kind of the best part about this end product is, as Dr. Swanson was talking about, it's so far in the future for law school to begin that this is a great opportunity for them to become more familiarized with what law school is, what law looks like, not just the law and order, as you kind of said earlier, so that when they enter undergraduate, they know if this is something for them, which a lot of them will continue to. And some students have realized this isn't exactly the path I was looking for by the end of their senior year, and they move into international relations, and are more on the policy side. So I think the difficulty level of the class is a great intro to have them realize where their passions kind of lie in the subject matter.
That's awesome. Yeah. Rita, how about you?
I echo everything Jonathan just said. I think one of the really big draws of the dual credit program is that when you get to the end of this pathway and you're taking these really challenging courses, I think for the first time, the students really see how so many of their high school skill building classes had come into play. So for some of the students, it's the first time they realize, oh, this is what I do when I am now writing, in a more professional setting. This is what it feels like. Here's where my writing skills really come into play. And a lot of students come into class and they've never really worked on their speech skills significantly, but now they're highly motivated. They really get into the role playing when we're doing mock trials or moot court, and they always want to get better. And sometimes they say, oh, I never liked giving speeches before, but now I really want to sound good. And now I know what I want to convince my audience of. So there's a very kind of a real world element that makes all of these skills feel much more immediate, much more accessible. So one of the things I love the most about the law pathway classes that Jonathan and I teach is watching these students really blossom. Students who weren't really confident writers or confident speakers, some who, would avoid reading even. By the end of the course, they really have found their footing and they love putting it all together, and they can't get enough of it. So it's really fun.
And that's again at the high school level. I would assume that many students are stunned by the amount of writing that they would have to do because they don't show that part on TV. With respect to legal work or the work of an attorney, the documents that are hundreds of pages long, and you're like, why does this have to be so long? Well, because if you don't, you can't serve your client well. That's got to be a shocker. And so that's one thing. But as you see interns, and the same thing for John and Zach, as you see interns, what would you say is the biggest sort of like surprise that you see our students experience when they get into your workplace and sort of get a little taste of it? When do you kind of notice like the look in their eye is one of like, oh, I didn't know that. And then this is a good thing, because better that than to pay a whole bunch of money in tuition and then be in a career and think, boy, I wish I'd have known this was part of it. What's an area that you look at and you think, this was an eye opener for these young people to see this part of my role? Kathy, what strikes you as you have?
Yeah, I can think of an example. The other day, I was introducing a case to a couple of my interns, explaining to them that we were going to seek a certain type of visa and that we had to explain the facts very carefully to the Immigration Service of what my client had been through. And we had to argue that she had suffered a certain amount of hardship in order to obtain the benefit that she was seeking. So I showed my interns, I randomly picked a sample of one that I had done a couple of years ago, or actually, I think it was one I did this summer with some interns. I showed them an example and they were like, holy cow, who wrote this? This is so good. And I was like, this is not just me. This is a bunch of us putting our heads together and putting together, talking to the client so many times that we got every last detail that we could possibly get from the client, who at first, clients are awfully shy and don't necessarily want to open up and tell us stuff, but with a combination of me and some of my interns, we got all kinds of facts and we're able to write up a really strong argument. And so my interns were like, wait, we have to write this same thing for the client we're starting with now. And I was like, well, I mean, it's not going to be a cut and paste, it's totally new facts, but yeah, this is what we're trying to accomplish. And they were just stunned by what they were going to do. And really quickly, over a week or so, we ended up putting it all together, and they were just so proud of the work they had done. They were like, holy cow, this might even be better than the one you did in the summer. So that was really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
What other experiences do you see? John or Zach, as you
I think we have I'll let Zach,
uh,
because we all have probably the same stories.
when we have paramedic students for doing their paramedic internship, I think that would be the one thing that we don't have nearly as much writing as is involved in law. We do have writing. It's in my mind at this point in my career, it's simple technical report writing at a very basic level. For me, I think the thing that would make people turn around in our career is if they just can't handle seeing things that the average person will not see or should not see, or maybe they'll experience it in once or twice in their lifetime, hopefully never. But that's the thing, is the routine of our everyday is our everyday may be someone's worst day. I mean, it is someone's worst day every time we come into contact with people. Hopefully it's not, but it is. So just sometimes the severity and the reality of what actually does happen in real life, that can be really eye-opening to human beings. It is to us. It's is to us still. So
how do you prepare somebody for that? Well, I mean, what do you try to do?
I think the best thing is with like our paramedic and EMT. I mean, with the training we have to go through firefighting, we have to go to a 12-week academy. So we're dealing with the stresses of heat and fire and those emergencies. So we're trained to that. And then in the paramedic program, we spend 9 months in the classroom for paramedic certification. The classroom, we're doing ER clinicals. And then around February, March, we go out and do 3 months of in the field training. So now everything you've learned in the classroom in the hospital, which is a little more controlled, now you come out with us and see a little more of the chaos and the controlled professional chaos that's involved with the fire department, where we go on a call, just like Zach said, something you're not going to see or most people shouldn't see, and how cool, calm, and collective we are as a crew working with the student to seeing that we'll get through this. We're all going to work together and get the proper outcome out of this.
That's amazing. And your work is very deeply appreciated, because that kind of calm and care is extremely challenging, and it's admirable that it's day to day, but it's more than most people ever have to deal with, and it's truly appreciated. Sadly, before my battery dies in a moment, which is going to be a traumatic event, D'Angelo, what does a student do to try to figure this stuff out? How can you and your role and the people that have your role at the other buildings, what can they do to keep your, to look into finding more about this info?
So in the district, at each high school, there is a student success coach. And if you do have questions and you're wondering about your career path, you should go talk to your student success coach. And you should also let your counselor know that you're interested in something like this, so you can understand what classes you need to take that would count as that prerequisite to support this for you. Your student success coach is going to do a career exploration with you, and they're going to talk to you about what is it that you see yourself doing and the paths that you see yourself going down, and how you should set yourself up to continue to go down that path. And then once you kind of figure that out, then they will begin to talk to you kind of about an internship opportunity. As you kind of already heard, that we do have some different ones working at the firms already, and that's continuous to grow. And then, that's kind of more around that junior year and just figuring it out. And if they do love it and they want to continue it, then we can talk about their senior year, which is doing an apprenticeship where they know that this is something that they truly want to do. Even if this isn't something that you don't want to do, and you figure that out through your internship, that's a positive, because now we know that that's not the path for you and that you see yourself somewhere else. So again, throughout the district, there is a student success coach. I would truly advise scheduling a meeting and figuring out, who your student success coach is and how they can help you and figure out your path and what is it you want to do. When you get out of high school, and how you can set yourself up currently while you're in high school right now. So it's a really good opportunity. And then there's a lot of things there's a lot of students benefiting from this right now, and definitely something that you should take advantage of.
Excellent. We're very fortunate at Elk Grove to have D'Angelo. Every school has a student success coach that is there to help. And I made it to the charger, which was amazing. So it's perfect. I just wanted to say to everybody that's on here, if you look at the range of the people in this panel and the opportunities that you have to reach out to them and learn more, it is really, really remarkable. And it's at the cost of regular old high school. And having a student who's sophomore in college and another who's a senior and another who's a sophomore, their school that they go to doesn't even have an inkling of the opportunity that our 214 schools have. And it's been done through the power of the relationships that people have with each other. That has been what has been doing this. And I want to point out that every career experience that's been discussed tonight, including by our teaching staff, the key to each of those experiences, the relationships with the people that they work with. It's the relationships with the community they serve. It's the relationships to somebody who helped them find their path. And in our district, we're extremely proud to have a whole lot of people who are striving to connect to our parents and to our students to help give them these kinds of opportunities. And so to our panelists, we could spend hours hearing all of your experiences and helping our community understand better. But tonight is about a quick and kind of just a little teaser of all that is possible in District 214. And I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight and for all that you're doing to help our students and their families feel really confident about what they're getting in our District 214 educational process. And so with that, I'm going to say thank you to all the participants. And again, thanks to the panelists. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions you may have. And with that, I want to wish everybody a wonderful evening, and please do be in touch with anyone with further questions, comments, etc. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Tuesday evening.